Hey there. So my next guest, really chill guy, which is really funny because he's a veteran who went from just being a killing machine into doing massage work. And he's been doing it for 10 years. He's got a stream going and he's just the most chill guy you've ever met, but he gives some fantastic advice. And I really do enjoy right at the end of this interview, he gives some amazing life lessons. So this is definitely one you guys want to check out. Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the Gamerpreneur podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Bradford Carlton. Today, I have a very special guest with us. I have Tom Bodnar. Hey there, Tom. How's it going?
Not too bad. How you doing?
It's a beautiful sunny day in Las Vegas. How about yourself, Tom?
It is dark in Pittsburgh, so.
Well, it's usually dark in Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
I used to live just south of Cleveland, so I know that whole area.
Gotcha. Yep.
Whole Northeast. All right, so Tom, I liked getting straight into my shows. Can you begin just by telling us a little bit about yourself, please?
Absolutely, yeah. I am a Marine Corps veteran.
Thank you for your service.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for the support. I did 4 years right out of high school. Then after I came back home, worked some other jobs. And now for the last 10 years, actually, as of 2 days ago, was my 10-year anniversary of being a licensed massage therapist. And so I've been doing that. And then within the last 2.5 years have found myself getting back into the swing of things as far as gaming and everything. So it's always been a lifelong thing. I've always been a gamer, fell out of it for a little bit, and then just came right back into the swing of things.
Fantastic. I'm right there with you. I know how that goes.
Yep.
All right. So I begin the show with a single question. So I'm going to ask you, just like I ask everybody else. And since I know you saw at least one of my episodes, you probably know what question this is. But on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being high, how weird are you, Tom?
Ooh, I think it depends on who you ask or who I'm around.
Well, I'm asking you. So.
I would say I can be a 10, but I probably in general would come off as like a 6.
Okay, now why do you say the 10? Why do you say the 6?
Because I think it depends on who I'm around. I think it depends, like, if I'm around people that I don't know, I'll probably sit back and kind of be a little bit more reserved until I kind of feel and see where their weirdness is and if it meshes with mine or not. Because, like I'm a gamer and that's my geekdom, but like with my girlfriend, she's more of the bookworm geekdom. So like sometimes our weirdness levels are here and here, but then other times they just perfectly fit. So you know what I mean? It kind of different strokes for different folks sort of thing.
Absolutely. I love asking that question because there's something about gamers. We all think we're weird for some reason, but we can't all be weird.
No, I mean, like I said, I consider myself pretty normal, but then there are other times where I'm like, oh man, I am a goofy SOB. So sure. It depends on what day you find me on.
Oh, I own a rainbow vest and rainbow bow tie. So, all right. So this is the Gamerpreneur podcast. So I need your gaming cred. And I know you are a gamer, but can you tell us a little bit about when you first started playing? How did you get into it?
So I would say I've probably first started gaming somewhere between ages like 5 and 10, back on original NES, with like Super Mario Brothers and stuff like that. We had an original NES whenever I was a kid growing up, but I was primarily the one who played it the most. My dad would play it some. Like he would only really play like Tetris, Dr. Mario, and like Tetris 2.
The classics.
And, yeah. But I kind of got into everything else. Like my sister was a little bit older than me. She's like, there's like a 9-year age gap. So I mean, like there would be times where she would play some stuff with me. Like if we were playing Mario 3, I would always have the only argument we would ever get in was like, who's going to be Mario? And I was like, well, I should be Mario because I'm better. I don't care if you're older. I'm better at the game than you. So I deserve to be player 1. But I always kept playing games growing up. I'd say probably the only time I really fell out of gaming was probably my time in the military. I didn't do as much gaming. And then a little bit afterwards. I kind of got back into it, but then kind of fell back out whenever like my kids were born. And now really, like I said, within the last couple of years, just got really right back into the swing of things. And that's actually why I started my page, was to kind of get back as something that I could do for myself. Just as like a hobby. And then I was like, went in with the open mindset of, I know streaming is a thing. I've known it's a thing for a long time, but when I got into it, I didn't see that many people doing it on Facebook. And so I got into it on the Facebook platform first. And I was like, all right, well, I'm going to do this for fun. If it's something that turns into something more advantageous, if I can make a little money off the side, all well and fine. If not, I'm just happy to be gaming again and just kind of building a community of people and stuff like that. So, and here's where we are.
All right, and I want to ask you all about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I will in just a second. I got to really know your gaming cred here, right?
Yeah.
I could ask anybody, when did you start playing games? Oh, on the NES. Like, yeah. What do you play now?
Honestly, I try to mix it up and do a little bit of everything. I do retro stuff pretty much on the weekly, because I am part of a for fun competitive page, the Facebook Retro Gaming League, that my buddy Classic and Current Gaming started up. And so it's set up like a season of football or hockey, where we have, a different retro title each week. There's divisional matchup, there's divisions and everything like that. It's basically, by the end of it, it's for bragging rights. But I do try to mix it up. I'll do some retro stuff. I'm doing some the new Paper Mario game. I'll do some World War Z. I'll do Cuphead. I love Super Metroid, so I'll do that fairly often. So really, I am. I'm the only thing that I really don't get into a whole lot of would be like the big battle royale first person shooter games and stuff. So like, you won't really see me playing like Fortnite or like Call of Duty. I don't know why, I just never got into them, but pretty much everything else, if it's got a good story or if the gameplay is, pretty decent, and if it's something I can do with other people, like stuff like Fall Guys, count me in. I'm all for it. So.
All right. Wonderful. So you have been playing pretty much everything I've played. So
yeah.
All those years of playing, if I dropped you off on a desert island, you only got to take one game with you. You got the power cable and an Ethernet cord in case you need the internet. Which game is it?
I hate this question, but I knew it was coming. All right. I really was giving it some thought today. And though I can never truly, in my heart of hearts, pick one game, I will say the most complete game to me would be The Last of Us.
Ooh, it's a good one.
Because that game, the graphics, the gameplay, the story, and how the game controlled and everything. And I had never been more emotionally invested in a game than I was whenever I first played through that one. And I wish the first time that I played through the first Last of Us, I wish I had been using OBS at that time. I was still doing a little bit of phone streaming. I'm assuming you played it, yeah? Or no?
Oh, yes. I actually played it before I became a father. And then to see it after that, at least that first 15 minutes, oh gosh, it's crazy.
So, I mean, it's been out for a while, so it's spoiler alert, but not really, because it's been out for so long. So if you don't know what happened, sorry. But so the part when near the end of the game, when Joel falls and
that's pretty
the rebar, I was sitting there, mouth agaped, hands on my face, like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, and I'm sitting there just, I'm shocked and I'm frozen. I was like, what now? And like, I never had a game like really just grip me that much emotionally. So I'd say I would put that up there, but it's really hard for me to ever pick a true favorite, because it's like comparing apples to oranges if it's if it's a platformer or if it's a RPG or whatever. So it's really hard to make that true best of all time choice for me. But
that game is just so well done in every respect. Like my wife
absolutely
watched me play just the beginning once, because I wanted to show her that scene right at the beginning.
Yeah.
And there's a car accident right there, right? Well,
Yeah.
my wife had been in a horrendous car accident when she was young, and so she had this PTSD from it. And when she saw that scene, went right into PTSD. She had to leave the room. I
Oh,
had to like pause. Like they did it so well. Like she saw herself there.
yeah. I mean, there's I like I said, I'm a sucker for any game that's really a good storyline. Like I said, when I had fallen out of gaming there for a while, it was probably around the time of like PS3 and stuff like that. So there was a lot of ones on that particular platform that I missed, like Beyond Two Souls, Heavy Rain, and other things like that. I just recently, earlier this year, I would say, I'm trying to remember exactly when, at least a matter of a couple months ago or more, but I had played through Beyond Two Souls for the first time, and I was, that's another game like that was great. The same people that did that one that did Detroit Become Human, absolutely love that game. Like that, so well done. And then The Last of Us 2, of course, like I got on that as soon as they came out, and I I was really surprised that there was definitely some backlash from the gaming community. Some people really didn't like it, and I was just like, I was all for it.
It was a fantastic game, and I understand why there's backlash because of the major plot spoiler right toward the beginning.
Yeah, and I was like, well, the you know, without saying what happens, I was like, we kind of, if you're a fan of the first game, like, you kind of had to know that something big like that was going to happen. But then more so, I think it was, they were like, well, I don't want to play with this character now because of what happened before. And I was like, but the whole point is like, there's a whole big redemption arc for that person. Like, I actually enjoyed that part of the story a little bit more than just the vengeance, you know, plot line. So I thought it was really, really well done.
Absolutely. Okay. So let's get over to the preneur part. Now, you've got a lot going on, but let me kind of get your background first. What is your professional background that got you here today?
So my professional background, like my real life job right now, like I said, I've been a licensed massage therapist for the last 10 years. Um, Before that, like I had mentioned, Marine Corps, I was in the infantry, did like 3 deployments in 4 years. And then I figured that was, I was kind of on the fence whether or not to re-enlist or not. And then it just, it was just one of those things. I was like, I rolled the dice enough. I think it's time to come back home. If worst comes to worst, if I can't find something back in, civilian life, that I would, I was like, I'll just go back in. Cause I went into the military with kind of the same open mindset that I do with everything. I was like, I'll either love it, make a career out of it. I'll like it. I'll do my time. I'll get out. I'll learn the lessons I need to learn and carry on, or I'll hate it and I'll just be ticking days off the calendar, like only this many more days to go. And thankfully I was right there in the middle. I enjoyed my time. I don't regret it. I learned a lot. It's definitely helped prepare me for other situations that I would face in my life, where it's like, okay, something may suck in the meantime, but I'm like, well, I've been through worse, so I know I can get through this because I've gotten through this. So it's definitely taught me the old Marine adage, adapt and overcome, for sure.
Absolutely. Okay. So how did you get into massage therapy? Because you went from killing to rubbing people's muscles.
Exactly. I went from one extreme to the other, and then I actually somebody said that, and I was like, if you think about it, I went from like a job of service to people where I was putting myself in danger to where I just wasn't putting myself in danger. But now when I got back home, I ended up that year that I got back home, it was in 2007. I ended up dating a girl who was going to school for massage therapy, and like a good boyfriend would
rubbed
do.
off on you.
Da, 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 da. But now, like a good boyfriend would do, I was like, yeah, I'll help you study. So I'd help her go over like the anatomy and physiology and kinesiology, help her through the bookwork stuff. And of course, like I would get like the first time she ever gave me like a hand massage, I was like, that's the most amazing thing ever. And so it sparked an interest. I was like, I've always had an interest in the in the mind, in human psychology, that was actually something that I considered as a profession many moons ago. But it really, it made me interested in how the body was put together and everything like that through the kinesiology and everything and the A and P. And I was just like, you know what? I was like, I started thinking about it from a career aspect, because again, I was done with the military and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do from here on out. And I just thought, okay, career aspect wise, it's a service that's always in need. People are always stressed. People get injured. Okay, I've been pretty good at giving a good shoulder and foot rub back in the day. Now I could actually like make some money and learn how to do this properly and help people out. And it's another way that I can help people and make a living out of it. So I decided to go for it. At the time, whenever I was going through school, I was working full time, managing at a gas station. So I was doing that during the day, going to school at night. And like I said, again, I already had a little bit of an interest from the anatomy and physiology and kinesiology side. So all the bookwork stuff, I was like, okay, this is cool. I'm learning more about the human body. I'm learning about myself too, because I was like, wow, I didn't know all this stuff is going on, And then once we got into the hands-on work, it was like somebody just flipped the switch. And I was like, oh, that moment of clarity, like this is what I should be doing with my life. Okay, let's go for it. And I haven't turned back since.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
All right. So, Tom, one of the purposes of this show is not just to interview gamers, but to give the broader gaming world the insights of what these different positions everybody has are. Because maybe you were like me, and my parents basically told me I had one track. I was going to go to college. I was going to be some sort of doctor. That was it. Like I had no other option. And I think a lot of gamers are raised kind of as lazy, right? We're told we were lazy. We have this stereotype of the typical gamer, right? The lazy, unmotivated basement dweller. We all have that. We all know that person, right?
Right. Yeah. I was gonna say we definitely all we definitely all have made that comparison or have made that assumption about the gamer in general. I'm sure we have. Yeah.
So what I like to do is I like to find out from my guests, how do you go into this field of work? Because maybe there's somebody out there who just heard your description of how you kind of found this love for it. And they go, maybe this is for me. How do I pursue this? How would somebody do that?
So what you would do, and it would vary state to state, because I'm in Pennsylvania. So every state has their own licensure and different requirements. For the state of Pennsylvania, if you want to get into the field of massage therapy, you have to go to a school that is going to give you, I'm trying to remember the state requirement. It's either 500 or 600 hours minimum, which equates to about a 6 to 9 month course. You would take that schooling. Then you would take a state board exam to get licensed. Then after you get licensed, then you would be free to practice. Either you could go into work for yourself. You could, try to find work at like a chiropractor's office. Pretty much, wherever you could find work for massage. I happen to work in a massage clinic that happens to be like a national franchise chain, basically. And it was one of those things, again, like when I got out of school, I wasn't quite sure where I was going to go work, but I was just like, I'm going to be open and just try to get my foot in the door wherever I can. And thankfully, the company happened to be doing interviews at the school that I went to. I wasn't there for the interviews, but my instructor, who I kept in touch with, informed me and said, hey, they were doing interviews. You might want to check into it, get on the ground floor running. And so I did. But that would be basically it. You have to make sure you're licensed in your state, and just you could always, if need be, you could always even check like state board of massage therapy for your particular state and see what the requirements are and everything like that. Because like I said, just because I'm licensed to practice in Pennsylvania doesn't mean I could go pack up and go down to Florida and, meet their requirements or whatever. So it would vary state to state.
Certainly. Okay. Yeah. And what skills or resources do you need in order to be good at this job? Because you've been here for 10 years. Obviously, one, like it, and two, are pretty decent, or you wouldn't still be here.
Yeah, I would say first of all would be an ability to have an open mind and, like I said, adaptability, because you'll get clients that come in with, varying degrees of problems. Some people might just want to come in for an hour and just kind of veg out and relax. Other people might need a little bit more focused work and really need you to work out particular problem areas. So really adaptability, and then being able to listen to your client and just try to, give them the work that's going to best suit their needs and what they're looking for. I have clients that come in for 2-hour massages, don't say a word. And so you do have to be good at, I would say, for lack of better terms, being able to distract yourself a little bit and not get bored. So constantly, like if I have a longer massage, there's a lot of times like I might be thinking in my head, like, okay, what do I have to do whenever I get home today? That comes after time, because eventually, like once you get to know your clients and kind of get to know their bodies, your hands will really just go on autopilot. In a way, like you just kind of know where to hone in on. But really being able to listen to your client, adapt, and just really being able to be open to constructive criticism, because your work isn't always going to suit everybody's needs. And I've had clients before where I've told them, listen, I don't think my work met your needs today, but I have no problem referring you to so-and-so because I think their work is going to be a better fit for you. And I've had clients, bounce back and forth sometimes between me and whoever else, just depending on what, the work they're looking for that day. You know what I mean?
Very cool.
Yeah.
Got any horror stories you want to share?
I have a funny one. So, and again, well, actually, I have two. One just happened literally just the other day. I was in between clients. I was flipping the table. I just got done cleaning, and I was getting ready to put like new sheets on my table. And across the hall, I hear this faint, "Help me!" And I was like, "Did I just hear that?" And what had happened is this older lady, who was not my client. I thought I heard her. It probably took me like two or three times before it registered, and I was like, "Oh, okay, she needs help." So I like knock on the door. I'm like, crack it just a little bit. I'm like, "Ma'am, are you okay?" And she's like, "I'm stuck." What happened is her shoulders are bad. She was face down, and she was kind of like half hanging off the face cradle. So, again, you got to be being professional about it, and just understanding that sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. So obviously she's like she was like undressed from the waist up, and I went in. I was like, "Okay, how can I help you? You want me to lift you, or what do you need me to do?" She's like, "Can you lower the table and I'll be able to push myself up a little bit." So I did, but I made sure to like stand behind her to try to keep her decency for her as much as possible, so I'm not getting a face full of old lady chest. So just being able to address the situation and again adapt, because I was like, I was not ready for this. I didn't know this was going to be the beginning of my day. So it happened, but she was thankful, and everything like that. And so that literally just happened the other day. But one story from probably like within the first year or so, whenever I had started working, we had a therapist call off, and we were scrambling around to try to rebook appointments. And I had accidentally grabbed the wrong clipboard. And when I went to go take this client from like the waiting room back to my, back to the session room, I introduced myself, and she said, "Well, I thought I was supposed to have a female therapist." And I said, "Well, ma'am, we had somebody call off. We've been moving appointments around," not realizing this wasn't even actually supposed to be my client. But regardless, it ended up working out. But the funny thing of it is I said, "Well, if you're not comfortable having a male therapist, we can always check with the front and see if they can reschedule you, because the last thing I want," and I always tell people this, I don't want somebody laying there on the table, like, just stressed the whole time or anything like that, or uncomfortable, because it's counterproductive for them and it's counterproductive for me, and it's a waste of both people's times. So I tell her, we can always see if you can, get you rebooked. And she pauses for a minute, and she goes, I see a male gynecologist, so it's not a big deal. And I said, ma'am, this is not going to be anywhere near that invasive, but come on back. And so she had never had a massage before. She was like in her 50s or so. I explained to her, to undress to her comfort level, lay on the table in between the bottom sheet and the top sheet. And I even, motion like in between the sheets, underneath the sheets now, like, just, yeah, it happens. Unfortunately, some people just don't hear you. And I'm like, it's whatever. So
Absolutely.
just have to remember it's just the human body.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. Now,
oh, yeah.
Tom, let's talk about the Casual Gaming Dad.
Yes.
Tell me all about him.
So when I started the page up, it was a way for me to get back into gaming as a hobby for myself. And I thought to myself, well, I didn't consider myself a hardcore gamer because I didn't game all the time. I wasn't up to date with all the systems and stuff, whatever was out at the time. I was definitely behind the power curve. So I was like, well, I consider myself more of a casual gamer now, just kind of, all right, I play when I can. And so I thought casual gaming dad. I was like, that's kind of what I am. Like, okay, that has a nice ring to it. And that's how I came up with the page name. And then when I first started, literally was doing phone streaming, just put the phone on the tripod, point at the TV, record and go. Because again, I had sought out, advice from a couple people that were doing it on Facebook. And I said, well, is it hard to get started? I don't have a big fancy gaming rig or anything like that. I really didn't know a whole lot technical wise what to do. And they said, and one person was like, I'm literally doing this for my iPhone. I said, well, I can do that. So I did. And it just steadily grew from there. It went from doing that, then to learning OBS. And then about a year in, I got approached by Gould Gaming and got sponsored by them. So they handle merchandise for me and stuff. If I come up with ideas, I pitch them to the owner. He gets his graphics team on it. They come back with something. I give my thumbs up or thumbs down. And thankfully, I've never had anything really that's been a thumbs down. They're usually pretty spot on, and I usually have a pretty clear idea of something that I want, and they're able to do that for me. So, been sponsored by them. And then really just kept going and decided, even though I've been doing it on Facebook for about 2.5 years now, I decided a little over a year ago to kind of try to expand things onto Twitch and YouTube a little bit. So now I simulcast it all three. So I'll have my chat over here and just go.
Beautiful. And how's that going?
Not too bad. I would say especially in the last couple of months, I would say like since April, I would say as far as from a monetary aspect, the page is doing the best that's ever done. And sometimes it's just a simple little tweak to things. So yeah.
Can I ask you to break it down a little further? Because I really want this show to be about giving people the inspiration and the motivation to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Like how many average viewers do you get? How big is your following? How much money are you actually making? Like, what are some realistic things people can latch on to?
So I would say, first off, for anybody getting into this, you have to be patient. You can't expect to be an overnight success because quite honestly, the field is so saturated anymore. It's very hard to make yourself be like, this is what makes me special, that you need to give me all your time and attention versus how many other people that are doing it out there. So definitely set realistic expectations. I do the streaming part-time because I still do the massage therapy full-time. So I stream usually like 3 to 4 days a week, and I usually do about 2 streams a day, and each of those streams is probably like 2 to 3 hours a piece or so. As far as the monetary aspect, my goal, at least whenever I really started getting the page monetized at first, was to make it so the page was self-sustainable. So just take everything in baby steps. I mean, it's nothing wrong with shooting for the stars and saying, well, I want to do this as a full-time thing. It's like, okay, well, that's fine, but you gotta crawl before you, yeah, you gotta crawl before you can walk, and you gotta walk before you can run. So I would say the biggest thing would be set realistic expectations. Talk to other people that have been doing it for a while. Definitely, ask for advice, ask for help, see what works for other people. But the biggest thing is, do not compare yourself to other pages, because what numbers might be good for me on any given day might be terrible for somebody else, or, might be whatever. It can be, completely different, because whereas I try to be like more of, a variety streamer, somebody else who's solely focused on Fortnite or something, like somebody like a Dr. Disrespect or a Ninja or something, like that's their niche, that's what they do. That's not me, you know what I mean? So we have two totally different, we're on 2 different wavelengths. So set realistic expectations. It's easy to get started, but it's work to maintain, and really how well you're going to do is going to depend on how much work you're willing to put into it. How much you can network and get yourself out there. Again, trying to seek out other people, doing things, see if you can set up like co-streams and stuff like that with people, do some different sort of things, get involved in the gaming community, go in and watch some different streams like that as a viewer, and see what you like and what you don't like about what somebody does. But you definitely have to be engaging to your audience. And I mean, it's obviously it's a easier said than done sort of thing. If you were somebody that had like hundreds of people in a stream, you're not going to be able to pay attention to all that chat just flying by. And that's, again, that's a reasonable thing. Like, okay, I know they're probably not going to see me say hi, so don't get mad about it. But just really be genuine too. I've always been in the mindset of, just because it's popular doesn't mean I'm gonna play it, because if I'm not enjoying it, then why would my audience enjoy it? Now there are some games that I'll play. Like I just did a Castlevania 3 run the other day. It was for the Retro League. I was my opponent for this week was the winner from last season. So his perk was that he got to pick a game for season 3. He picked this game, and he picked the very last week. And I don't think we had the schedule out. We didn't know who was going to be facing who necessarily, but he picked it for the last week of the regular season. Well, it turns out that him and I are in the same division. It's the last week divisional matchup. He's picked the game. He speed runs it all the time. So realistically, I knew going in, I don't have a chance. But you know what? I'm just going to rage through it anyways. So hit the censor button, every 5 minutes, just like, I'm like, GD knockback mechanics and this and that. I'm like, but people do love a good rage stream every once in a while. It's just kind of a cathartic release, it doesn't matter what's going on. So, you'll have those.
Okay, so Tom, you've kind of got this split life going on. You got your profession and you got your hobby, which is kind of turning into something. But
yeah,
I'm going to ask you one of those typical interview questions, right? If you were sitting across the desk from me, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do I see myself in 5 years? God willing, still massaging if my body doesn't fall apart, and still doing the gaming. I still want to keep as balanced of a life as I can. And when one starts, if the gaming turns out to be something that's more advantageous for me, then I'll start diving more into that and cut back on the massage, or vice versa. If I still see that, I have a better opportunity doing something else with massage where I can make more money and do something with that, I'll throw a little bit more time into that, and I'll cut back on the streaming. But I still want to keep
that's my biggest thing. I'll still try to keep everything as balanced as possible, because where everything is for me, as far as my career, my hobbies, I've got kids, girlfriend, everything's just kind of it's kind of all really okay and well in place right now, and I'm definitely happy where things are at. So yeah, God willing, doing both still.
Wonderful. All right, now, Tom, if it's okay, I'd like to ask some more personal questions, get to know you a little bit better.
Sure.
Um, so I'd like you to go back in time with me if we could. And we're going to go visit little Tom back when he was just mustering out of the Marines, okay?
Okay.
Okay. And I want you to go up to little Tom and I want you to tell him everything that's going to go on over the next many of years of his life. But here's the one thing he needs to know. What is that?
Whew. The one thing he needs to know is it's gonna work out, and be prepared. Be prepared for the unexpected, because I did not see myself becoming a father when I did, but it's turned out to be a blessing in disguise. I did see myself getting into streaming as even a part-time career, but here I am. And even even whenever I had just gotten out of the Marines, I didn't see myself, going into massage therapy as a full-time profession. So I would say the one thing I would tell myself is keep the open mind that you've had already. It's going to work out.
Wonderful. Okay. Now, I believe that our failures in life are our greatest teachers. When you get smacked in the face, you get knocked down, you got to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and then figure out what happened to be able to move forward. So I'd like to ask Tom, what do you consider your biggest failure in life, and what did you learn from it?
I would say probably my biggest failure has been financial management. I fell prey to, I'm sure, like how many people do, getting myself into debt. And honestly, it's just been a matter of just keeping better track at spending and stuff like that, and just taking the help whenever it's needed. Whether it's like a debt consolidation sort of thing, anything like that. I would say that's probably been my biggest failure for me personally. Would be that. But I've slowly been digging myself out little bit by little bit. Got the majority of the big chunk of the debt already removed. So now it's just a matter of lowering balances on things. So, and I would say I would attribute that probably to the fact that I really didn't know squat about credit and credit cards whenever I had gotten one. So it really was a learn as you go process for me. So now that I've gone through it, unfortunately having to learn the hard lesson and learn it the hard way, I'm wiser for it. So now I'll at least be able to teach my kids that, hey, be careful about this because this is what can happen, sort of thing.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Now, one more question, and then we'll kind of start wrapping this up. What is something that you think people misunderstand about you the first time they meet you?
That is a really good question. I would say the only thing that I can really think of would be, and it was something that I kind of ran across with one of my exes, was that one of her friends, or she had said to me, she's like, all my friends think you're like this pretty boy sort of thing, like that I didn't have any sort of edge or anything like that. Or I don't know exactly what that they necessarily meant by it. But yeah, I guess it would be that. I don't know. I really can't think of anything that people would misinterpret or misunderstand. I think it's just one of those things that I'll kind of just got to feel them out. So I don't know, maybe they would think that I'm a little shy or first or something like that if I didn't talk to them right away. But sometimes it's just a feeling out process.
Sure. No, I understand. I'm right
Yeah,
there with you. I'm the same way. Like if I don't know you, I'm probably not talking.
yeah,
Best friends, like we can't record that stuff. It's bad.
yeah. I will say, okay, so this kind of dives into something else a little personal, where I would say I am terrible at breaking the ice whenever it would come to like in the dating scene or anything. And thank God I don't have to do that anymore, because I've been with my girlfriend for like the last 3.5 years, and knock on wood, that's going smooth and steady there. But I was always horrible at breaking the ice. I was horrible at approaching somebody. Now if somebody broke the ice and started talking to me, and I didn't feel put off by them, no problem, strike up a conversation, we're best friends by the end of the night, sort of thing. Like, so yeah, sometimes it could be just a matter of like, if I was a little quiet or anything like that, maybe that would be it. Maybe they would think that oh, he's very introverted, where actually I love to be around people in general. I just really it's just got to be a good energy. I got to vibe with those people and stuff like that,
For sure. I know so many people who can relate to that.
Yeah.
Okay. So Tom, this has been a fantastic interview. How do people find you? Where are you at? What's your handles? Tell us.
Yeah, absolutely. So on Facebook, they can find me at Casual Gaming Dad. YouTube would be the same thing, although if you want to get technical, it would be youtube.com/casualgamingdad84, because apparently somebody else has the same handle, so I had to do the 84 thing. But if they find me on Facebook, the same logo that they find on Facebook, they'll find on YouTube. Twitch and Instagram both are Casual Gaming Dad 84. I'm admittedly a little lacking on the Instagram, but I'm trying, and I try to use the Instagram as to kind of put the stuff outside of the gaming world, like the real life stuff, like my bike rides and stuff like that. I just went on like a 75-mile bike ride the other day with that was how my quads felt. The face that you're making is how my quads felt. It was actually, they were more like middle fingers in the air. It was definitely an experience. So yeah.
I love it. Okay, so Tom, do you have any last things you want to share, or anything I didn't ask you think we still need to cover?
I would say my last impressions would be, regardless of the field you're going into, whether it's gaming or anything else like that, whatever, definitely the things that I've been taught, always give 100%. I've been taught that from a young age, whether you're the CEO of a Fortune 500 company or you're the janitor cleaning the lobby, do your best, be yourself, and just be genuine in what you're doing. Go in with good intentions. I always close my streams by telling people, take care of yourselves, be good to one another, keep it casual, and game on. And what that really means is take care of yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, whatever you got to do, because if you're not taking care of yourself in life, don't expect anybody else to. You got to look out for number one, but at the same time, you don't have to be selfish in the sense of putting other people down. So do good for yourself, but help others out along the way. Help them so they can, sort of help themselves along the way. But take care of yourself, be good to one another. Pretty self-explanatory. Just be a good person, common courtesy, common respect. The keep it casual and game on is the don't let life get you down, and don't take life too seriously. You got to enjoy it. Don't take life too seriously or you won't get out alive, sort of thing. So keep it casual and game on. Keep an open mind and keep pushing forward.
Fantastic advice. Tom Bodnar, thank you so much. I genuinely appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you, man. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. And for everybody else, I'm going to remind you all, don't be just a gamer, be a gamerpreneur.